So hi everybody, we're back and we're going to continue on with Happy Birthday in G, and now we're going to add chords or harmony in the right hand, and then we'll put in bass notes after we have that down. So playing in G is going to be very similar to playing in C because we're still using all of the white keys with the exception of an F sharp now. So instead of this, we have this. So pretty much things look the same as you go through the key of G. So before we begin in G, let's just take a look at what the 1 chord is. Well, of course, it's 1, then 1, 2, 3, 4 is our C chord, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our 5 chord will be D major, and then the 7th makes it D7. So those are the chords that we'll be using today. So we'll begin with the 4th finger on D, and that brings us to G, B, E. We have this E, which is an upper neighbor of the G triad. So we have 1, 2, 5, and then 1, 2, 4. And then we go up to our first inversion G triad, B, D, G with 1, 2, 5, and come down on our 5 chord, D major now. All right, now I'm going to do something a little different, or differently from what I did in the key of C. In key of C, we had this. And then here, I just used a plain G triad. So here, today, in the key of G, we're going to do this. Now I'm going to introduce the 7th here, and I'm going to add a little more color instead of having this. See, that's kind of flat sounding. So this adds a little shimmer to the picture. So now we have 4th finger on D, and we're going to a D 9th chord. Okay, this is actually an upper neighbor of this, but it's also a legitimate D 9th chord. And what a 9th is, you just pile up on a 7th chord, and you add more and more color. You can add a sharp 11th, a 13th. Okay, but in essence, the chord is still a D7th with just a lot more color. So we have this 4th finger, and then F sharp, C, E with 1, 3, 5. So we have the 3rd, the 7th, and 9th, and then come down to the root with the 4th finger, and then we'll go up to a rootless D7th chord. We're missing the D. We have the 7th, the 3rd, and the 5th with 1, 3, 5. Then just pick your hand up and play 1, 2, 5 on the first inversion G chord. All right, now we're going to do the octave leap, and we'll go from a single D. We'll lift our wrist up. Remember, we did this in C major. We come down, up to 2 and 5 on G and D, yeah? And then pick up 1, 2, 4 on the second inversion G chord. This is all 1 chord now. And then first inversion G chord. And then we use the whole 5 chord as an upper neighbor to the 4 chord. So that upper neighbor 5 chord is A, D, F sharp with 1, 3, 5, and then resolve to 1, 2, 4 on G, C, and E. And then come all the way up to this C, and we'll use first inversion C with 1, 2, 5. And that brings us down to second inversion G with 1, 2, 4. First inversion G with 1, 2, 5. D7th without the D. We played this before. 1, 3, and 5th fingers. So we have the 7th, the 3rd, and the 5th. And then back to our 1 chord in first inversion, and that's the end of the song. All right, now we're going to try it with the metronome on 120, but I just want to point out one thing that you should try. We're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and So when you come to the 3rd tick of the triplet, the come up with your wrists. So it's 1 and 2, That's your cue for getting off the piano and then coming down on the next chord. So this keeps your wrists nice and fluid and moving all the time, and that's what you need to do to play this. So I'm going to count 1 and a 2 and come in on 3. Here we go. 1 and 2 and and then work your way up the metronome. Now I'm on 160. 1, 2. Already it's easier to play, because this is more like the speed that everybody sings it at. And notice I'm not trying to connect any of these chords. You have to disconnect. So you have disconnect, 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 even something close like this, disconnect. And that allows you to pick up, set your fingers, and play them simultaneously. It's called synchronization, and the synchronization is what really builds up your fingers. It's a great exercise to just play any 3 notes exactly together. It's very difficult. It requires a lot of control on the part of all your fingers. Okay, now we're at 200. 1, 2. That sounds more like the happy birthday that we all know. Now we're going to add bass notes and you'll be in business. So we'll start with a G down here with the pinky and come up to your thumb on D. Okay, stay there. Back to G. Now we want first inversion G. So we have the 3rd in the bass, the root, and the 5th. And this is C major with an upper neighbor dissonant, a whole dissonant chord resolving down, right? And I'm going to add something new today. I'm going to, instead of doing a 4 chord here, we're going to play an A in the bass. And that gives you a 2 chord. 2 minor 7th chord. It's much more powerful for this A going to a D than this C going to a D. So we have this again. See? So the A minor 7th is simply a C chord with an A in the bass. See it? Here's the C chord with the A in the bass. And now this chord is a second inversion G chord, and especially having the D in the bass while you're playing the 1 chord, the G chord, it's called a 1-6-4 chord. And in theory, see? And it's called 1-6-4 simply because of this. This is a distance of a 6th, and this is a distance of a 4th. So in Bach's day, the keyboard players would just have a bass note there, and they would improvise with the right hand. They would either put in melodic improvisation or they'd put in chordal improvisation. And to indicate what chord they were playing, they would put numbers under it. So they would have a big Roman numeral 1 with the numbers 6-4 to the right of that, meaning that they should play a second inversion G triad, 6 and a 4. So that's the history of the 1-6-4 chord. And the 1-6-4 chord it creates tension because you're hearing this final chord that you're going to play. You're going to eventually hear this G chord, but you're hearing a D down here too. So you're saying, wow, something else is coming. And of course, that's the 5 chord, which brings you to the 1 chord. All right, so to go back, we have, here's our 1-6-4 chord. And then if you want, you can come way down to this D, which you can't see in the picture, I don't think, and then finish with a grand finale. Okay? All right, I have the metronome on 69, and this is just playing quarter notes now. So you'd have to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and Well, that's it for today, and I hope you join me next time when we tackle Happy Birthday in the key of F major. Okay, so have a great day. If you haven't subscribed to Piano Power Lessons, please hit that subscribe button, and you'll get updates every time a new video comes out. All right, so with that, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.